when you gonna put Tokyo Drift on motherfucking Facebook, asshole? This time on Talking Spoilers. I just finished watching this movie. It's called The Cure for Wellness. Or Cure for Psychodelirium. That's what I'm gonna call this shit. Cure for Psychosis. So, I'm here with John Wall.
What up?
What up, what up? We're gonna spoil Cure for Wellness if you haven't seen it yet. If you haven't, go watch it. It's a pretty long movie, but it's worth it. I thought it was. It was a good movie.
It's a good thriller.
Good thriller, yeah. Good mystery.
Listen, not many people went to go see this. This movie had a $40 million budget, only made 26 mil back. But I seen this in theaters, and it looked good. It looked like Shutter Island.
That's what I said.
The Cure for Gayness.
Cure for Gayness. Nah, it was not. There was nothing gay about that movie. Trust me. So they're very Shutter Island. Even like the whole, like how it's filmed, like the whole camera angles, the whole like I don't know, just the whole feel of the movie.
Visuals of the movie are really good.
The composition was pretty good. Like I like how they put stuff together. And what else? I wrote some notes right here. Let me go to my notes. All right. The movie's about an ambitious executive at a financial service firm in New York City. He gets busted, basically. He gets busted for some underhand shenanigans that he does to get some money. His company, the board, they find out and they blackmail him to go get this guy named, what was it? Pembroke or something like that?
Yeah.
They go get Pembroke in order for them to close a merger that they're trying to do for their company. But they need
the signature.
They need Pembroke. They need the signature of the other member of the board. What was that? The guy at the beginning that died, who was drinking the water and had a heart attack?
Yeah.
He was supposed to go, right? Instead, he died, and that's what our protagonist of the film, Lockhart, is chosen to go instead.
Yeah.
So he goes there. Before we see scenes of his mother, so the relationship with his mother, do flashback sequences with his mother, and how his mother said, like a retirement home, like an old people's home.
Yeah.
So she ends up dying, and then he goes up to the.
Didn't she warn him, saying you're not going to come back?
Yeah, you're not going to come back. That's what she's telling him. He's like, oh, when I come back from this trip, I'll put you in a better place. And then she says, oh, no, you're not going to come back. And, spoiler alert, she dies. So then he goes up to the sanitarium. And along the way, he's with his driver. And his driver tells him more or less about... He's like, a little... What he heard about the sanitarium and its history. That it was burnt down by the villagers. Because the Baron... had a incestual love for his sister. He had an incestual lust for his sister. He wanted to keep his bloodline pure, so he started banging his sister.
And then there's a fire in the place of
in the fireplace, and that's what. And then that's what we know so far. That's like the first piece of the puzzle to the whole mystery.
Yeah, I like the whole build up to everything. They keep everything.
Because they give you piece by piece. They don't give you the full story.
They said
you gotta piece it together.
The movie is a little bit long. How long was the running time exactly?
2 minutes and 2 hours and 26 minutes. Yeah, 2 hours and 26 minutes.
And while it is long, I was along for the journey the whole time. Some people are saying they could have cut parts out of it, but I didn't mind it at all. This is from the director of The Ring, which again, I like that movie. Right. That's another movie that does a really good job at building up suspense. And
I can see it, definitely.
And this director, he's used to big budgets now because he did the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy as well.
Oh, all right. So he's okay.
So you kind of know.
Lockhart arrives there, right? Sanitarium. Fucking all the old people are over there doing crossword puzzles and flying kites and playing
it's
cricket.
supposed to be a great place for retired people. Like, oh, nothing sinister happening here.
It's like, guys, just some old people playing cricket and flying kites. So
it's not all rainbows and sunshine at night.
You know, the staff is the one. The whole staff at the hospital is like so freaky. They're so like weird. When he goes up to the desk and the lady's like just staring at him, like not even blinking. She's like, this bitch. There's something wrong with this bitch right here.
Europeans, man.
Europeans, Switzerland, So.
Yeah, he goes to find Lockhart and like say he can't like really contact him, so he's gonna leave the place for a little bit and come back later, and he's telling him, oh, he'll make sure he'll get him to come back with him, and then his car ends up getting into a crash because the deer out in the road was acting all.
When he went to, where was he going? He wasn't leaving yet because he had just found.
No, I think he was just gonna go like make a phone call somewhere or whatever, or he was gonna go back.
Because they didn't have any service once he got there.
Yeah,
they had no phone service.
His car crashes, and then the next thing you know, he wakes up
and happened to the driver?
No, the driver was fine because the driver shows up later. Yeah. But they crash, and then he wakes up at the place again, and he's got his leg in a cast. And he's like, what happened? They're like, oh, you're in a terrible accident. You need rehab. You need rest. You can't go anywhere. They don't say you can't go anywhere, but they suggest, like, stay here,
Here. Drink the water. Drink the water.
They're big on drinking that water.
They're big on people drinking the water.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what the doctor was promoting.
Cure.
The whole film, drink the water. Stay hydrated. And then throughout the movie, you see a whole bunch of... It's very freaky. The movie's very twisted, so you have to have a...
Yeah, you got to see it
good stomach
really
on this, because, you know...
Oh, there's a lot of graphic scenes in this movie.
There's a lot of graphic scenes, a lot of torture-type scenes where, like, if you're squeamish... It's going to make you cringe.
There's some disgusting parts, and my girl was totally disgusted by the end of this movie as they reveal it. She was absolutely disgusted. And I said, some of it is it's a little exploitive, like, it's a little distasteful, but, I mean, I said, this movie, I like it, but I said, this movie also seems like there was multiple endings. I feel like there was kind of studio interference where they could have ended the movie here, but then it would have been such a downer of a movie. They're like, no, you got to keep going, and then they have this ending, and then that's even more of a downer. They're like, no, just like this movie's 2.5 hours long because they like added on the whole like act. I feel like they definitely put it on in there for casual audiences, but if this was like a downright horror movie that like didn't care.
It would have ended earlier.
It would have ended just like, oh, he was fucked.
Yeah.
And the credits roll.
Yeah.
And it would have just been like, oh, okay, what was that?
So, I want to say like one thing. Like the critics, they slammed this movie. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes and...
Oh, yeah. Earlier, when it first came out, it was like in the 30s. I just said the official score is 43%. And they say while the visuals are good, they feel like the story's derivative and they feel like the story's too predictable. I didn't feel like it was too predictable. They did kind of lay the groundwork in the beginning of what they were going to do, to set up their big reveal. But I wasn't on to everything that was going to happen. I kind of figured that there was something supernatural about the girl, though. Or I was like, she's really been alive for this many years. She's just a teenage.
No, but they allude to the water having magical properties and stuff like that. Because they said people from... that old lady was like, oh, people came from far away just to come see the water because of its curing possibilities.
What I like about this movie is a total mindfuck because you're seeing it from the protagonist's perspective, but you don't know what he's seeing, if it's really real or not. Yeah, because he's seeing things, but then people tell him that's not there. Or what were you talking about? It's like when they put him in the tank and the two hospital people just start fucking.
Yeah, they was like, what the hell? What the hell is this shit? The guy was in that water tank, and the guy was just beating off, and he was like, and the girl had her titties out. She was putting drops, giving them little dabs of the.
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah, it's
cure.
Awesome. But I was just like, oh, it's twisted. I said the movie is definitely.
Whoa. Did they do it like? They totally forgot about him. It was like, oh shit, this guy.
I'd be like, fuck you. I'd be like, where's my lawyer?
After he busted his nut, he was like, oh, we left the guy inside there.
He's fucking drowning.
He's drowning. We left.
He was worried because he was like in the tank and he thought there was eels in there, and they're like, Plus nothing going on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there was. There probably was.
But another thing had me thinking throughout the whole film is when his mom, his mom had said that the ballerina that she made was in a dream, and she didn't know that she was in a dream. So, like, parts of the movie had me thinking, like, maybe he is just dreaming. You know, almost like Shutter Island type. Like, what he's doing is he's just hallucinating, basically. And he's not really seeing all these things. But you find out that it's the water that's causing all these crazy hallucinations and all this. It causes the patients to become docile, and you know they want to stay there. Basically, they're more willing to stay because of the water. They're drinking this water.
The drug addicts.
I like it because it doesn't allude to anything. You have to watch the whole film in its entirety to piece together the whole puzzle. You won't know until the end.
Actually,
you get like little hints, so you get to figure it out a little bit.
I don't have a problem with the ending. Like I said, the scenario, it's just definitely disgusting, and I think it's a little distasteful or whatever. But like I said, for a casual audience, they went out there. They went full, like they went all in. They're like, okay, we're gonna. At least they went with a bigger reveal. They didn't keep it ambiguous where maybe there's sequels or keep the.
No, you can't put a sequel.
They pulled.
The sister comes back.
They pulled back the curtain and they were like, okay, there's this fucking society of fucking
cycles.
Cult.
This cult, yeah. So you had like the feud between the villagers and the people of the hills. The people of the hills was led by the Baron, and the villagers were the ones against what he was doing. We find out little by little. We find out that the cure, the quote unquote cure, is sweat from the humans that consume the water, filtering out the eels, because the water is causing the eels to have a longer lifespan, and they
can live like hundreds of years.
It's toxic to humans, so they cannot drink it without them start to slowly die or become like zombies or whatever you want to call it. And the doctor. Was it Voldemort? No. Voldemort, something like that. His last name was weird. It was like what's the last name of that guy? Come on,
I don't remember.
It's something like that. It's Dr. Voldemort.
It's been a while since I got to see that.
I just saw it. I was like, yo, Voldemort. I was
No, this actor though normally plays a villain in a lot of movies. If you ever seen The Patriot with Mel Gibson, he was a piece of shit in that movie too, like just murdering families and burning them in churches and shit. Yeah, he always plays a bad guy. So
he always plays a fucking.
The second you've seen him on screen, I'm like, yep, that's the guy.
That's him.
He's behind it.
Another thing, Voldemort, Dr. Voldemort, not Voldemort. Voldemort. So you find out that this Dr. Voldemort is actually
the Baron
that was trying to bang his sister. And you find out the whole story that his sister was she was not fertile, right?
I didn't think it was his sister. I thought it was his wife. His wife died, but they had a kid.
No, that was his sister. His wife was his sister.
Oh,
to keep the bloodline pure.
Yeah.
And his wife.
And it turns out he did have a daughter.
Barren. Get it? No, she was the Baroness was barren. She couldn't have kids, so he was trying to find a cure to make so she.
But it turns out they did have a kid, and
because of the cure, they experimented on the villagers. They experimented on the villagers with the water, and he found out a process on how to heal her, and then the villagers didn't like what was going down with them.
So it's not revealed to us in the beginning of this movie, but there's this place. Yeah, this place. A whole bunch of elderly people, except for one young girl, who's like almost 18
I thought
now.
She was a ghost.
And it's like she's very creepy. Like she doesn't have a lot of social skills either, and like something's up. But it turns out she's the Baron's daughter, and she's. I don't know how she's been able to keep. Well, yeah, like this water is supposed to help you with immortality, so she isn't growing up at a rate like us. Because she's like 70 years. She's been there for like 70, 80 years, right?
Yeah.
And she hasn't had her period. But we get to witness that.
Complete reverse of Junior. You know how Junior he was aging real fast. She was aging super, super slow due to the cure. So the Baron's still psycho. He's lived a long time due to the cure. The cure does work, but it's like a twisted way in order to get this.
Well, yeah, they have to kill people.
You have to intoxicate
the people that don't want to stay.
Yeah, the people that don't want to stay. You have to intoxicate these sick old people, and then harvest their sweat in this machine. There's like this lung machine, whatever it's called, to make you breathe. Have that, and it causes these people to sweat out the cure. So the cure of this film is eel sweat from human beings.
It's so much worse when seeing it on screen what it really is.
That's just fucking
while he's revealing his plot, he's all tied up to the chair and he's got his mouth wide open because they were about to feed him a whole bunch of fucking eels.
I don't, with this film, probably what happened, it would have been better if they had a different lead actor. You know what I mean? Because this guy,
people say he's not playing a likable character in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't even if you would have got a different actor. It's just the way he portrays the character too.
It's that too, but it's also
he's not supposed to be a likable guy.
He's not that well known as. I mean, what was his other film that he played? He was the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
he was the Green Goblin.
He's from Chronicle, though. He's the main guy from Chronicle. He was also a bad guy in that. Remember Chronicle?
Which one?
The teenagers and they're filmed over the camera. He's the main kid that turns evil. He's been in some stuff.
He's been in but
I mean, it's a shame that this bombed at the box office because he's got a movie coming up this summer. The futuristic sci-fi movie or whatever. It looks like a big box office budget.
Oh, the
movie.
Valerian, right?
Yeah, he's going to be the star of that too. We'll see if he has charisma or maybe it's just him.
Maybe it's just him. Maybe he just lacks charisma. He just
that movie, as good as the Valerian, as good as his new movie looks, I think that's going to be another big box office bomb as well.
This one did bomb. It only made half.
Oh yeah, they didn't make its money back. I do feel like there's an audience for this movie, and I feel like it's going to get a cult following.
That's what I'm about to say. It's a cult classic, definitely. People might not like it now, but I'll watch it again. I want to watch it again to understand it more in depth and like to.
A scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving this? 7. Yeah, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. I liked it. Again, I didn't care how long it was. It's a brutal scene when he's in the dentist chair and they remove his
teeth.
Yeah, he's starting to
break through the hypnotic whatever.
Yeah,
the hypnosis that the
water that he's been drinking makes you lose your teeth.
Makes you lose your teeth. It doesn't really cure you. The water is not curing anybody. What it's doing is causing them to be brainwashed. And it's twisted. The whole the scene where he sees the deer. It brought me back to Get Out. I was like, I was like, they're using these deers. There's got to be some symbolic meaning that this deer has towards these films.
It's connected universe.
Connected universe. The same deer that caused the car crash is the one that's up on the mantle.
He went to
the dad's Twisted. Yeah, another film, and then some twisted.
Yeah, no, it's a really good psychological thriller, and then turns out, his legs in the cast was never really broken to begin with.
That's what I was like. It was never broken, but he has a cast on it. How would he know?
Yeah. He's worried about the eels coming out of the toilet and shit like that. That's the movie.
They're drinking eels, like little tiny eels. He finds out, like little by little, he finds out, like, oh, what the hell's going on? So the Baron's daughter, at the end of the film, where it culminates, where it all comes together, he's figured everything out. He figured out, the water's toxic to humans. And he had to suffer through much. Like I said, I thought the movie was over. The second one, they had the music going on, and they just had eels making them swallow the eels. I felt like the movie was gonna end up. It was like just gonna be a big fuck you to the audience. That's it. He dies.
And then it went on a little bit more where he looked off into the sunset, and the girl's like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm fine now." He's like, "I'm happy," and he's smiling, and it has that music, the ominous music. You think that's the end of the movie, but the studio's is just like,
she gives him the ballerina.
we need to have a happy ending.
She gives him the ballerina to break him out of the spell.
But before we give you the happy ending, the daughter is going to have to give her father a happy ending. Because, talk about the culmination, the end act.
So, end act is the dad, the Baron, the doctor. He has his daughter tied up to a bed, about to rape her. Basically, plain and simple.
He's going to impregnate her. He wants to keep the bloodline strong.
The whole time he was waiting for her to menstruate in order for him to secure his bloodline and keep his bloodline pure. So he was waiting for her to menstruate.
So he's been a loving father the whole time for 70 years. And she's like,
he's waited 70 years for this.
She doesn't know that he's her father. She's like, when I'm a woman, will Daddy come for me? And he's like, I'm sure she will. Oh, yes, he does. And that's when I started getting like a feeling. I was like, okay.
No.
Okay.
This is where this movie's going. All right, so he has it tied up. This is the final act. He has it tied up, and the protagonist tries to save her.
He fights off the.
No, because he breaks out of the spell because of the ballerina that his mom made for him, that she gives to him later on. Yeah. So before this rape scene is about to go down.
But everyone in this facility is like all the workers. They're all a cult. They're all having a masquerade ball.
Yeah, dancing,
celebrating that. This father's gonna fuck his daughter. Gonna get some.
Right there, he's underneath them while they're having a party upstairs. He's about to bang his.
And then she doesn't she like scratch at him? She like rips his face off. Yeah. And it turns
he takes his whole face off, and to reveal he looks like fucking Freddy.
It's the
Krueger.
sequel to Face Off 2.
He looks like Freddy Krueger, fucked an orc. And he's like.
He looks like the inside of somebody's asshole.
Yeah, he definitely does. Then he's stopped by the protagonist, but then he's the one that causes the fire too, right? He causes the fire, and after the Baron rips his face off, and he drops, and rolls while the protagonist he tries to break out. Lockhart tries to break out the girl. He breaks Hannah. The girl's name's Hannah. He breaks her out. He's able to break out. Take out one arm. Free one arm, but then the Baron comes back after he stopped, dropped, and rolled, got rid of the fire, and then he starts beating the living hell out of the protagonist, just throwing him around, tossing him around.
Super strength.
So he's about to kill him, and then his daughter comes from behind him with a shovel and rams that shit right into his head. Dead. And then he falls into the water.
With all the
I'm pretty sure contaminated the water even falls. Oh, which is fitting, because like how it goes back. It's a throwback to how the whole thing started. Because the whole thing started that the village is burnt down.
Yeah, and now the building is on fire again and
burning down. And he's being consumed by the eels that he was consuming this whole time. So
it's like, come back from that, bitch.
Come back from that. And then we have the board that sent this guy Lockhart out on his mission to go retrieve Pembroke.
Yeah.
They come at the end while he's riding off into the sunset. Oh, not sunset, into the darkness with her bike actually, Hannah's bike. He stops and he's like, that they want him to come back to New York.
He just rides right past him, right?
They're going to try to blame him for,
it wasn't.
Try to frame him for something like they did to his father. We find out also that his father also used to work for the company. And the Cure also gives him a flashback to his father's death, how he jumped off of a bridge.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing is, for me, like the moral of the whole story is like, Lockhart was so driven by success. He was so ambitious that he would get success at any means necessary. He was willing to achieve success. Like, he forgot about his mother. He put his mother on the back burner, his mother's health on the back burner, and all he was focused on was success, and that's what he was driven by. But then at the end of the film, he's a much different person. You know what I mean? He's
after you get your teeth drilled out of your fucking face while you're awake,
while you get drowned in a fucking tank with somebody outside masturbating.
They make you swallow eels and all this other shit. Like, he had to go through a lot. Like I said, he wasn't a likable character, and even at the ending, I was like, he's still not really a good guy.
He looked psycho, smiling.
He tried to do what was
what's
right
up with
and
that smile?
save that girl. Like I said, the ending's a little bit forced. I feel like the studio is just like, we need action. They didn't want to just... Because I said, a lot of people would have shit on this more if it would have just ended like, oh, we're going to kill you now. This is it. But I feel like that was like the original ending, was just him swallowing eels. With classical music going on in the background. Very disturbing. But I liked it. It's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say that. Moral of the story: you can't be driven by success to the point where you end up drinking eel water and becoming poisoned, or becoming a crazy baron obsessed with banging his family members. So that's the moral of the story.
It's a good movie. Check it out.
Check it out. That's it. We're talking spoilers, fuckers.